Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hopefully, Gal is going to join us in a little bit. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, Wirecast, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. We had a sort of a rough week around here in North Carolina. Not much here, but Nick had to put up with a lot of nature's wrath down there.
Sort of.
Yeah, more than here. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, well.
You were waiting for something worse to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You were ready for something worse to happen.
Yes, sir.
And you were ready. Alan was wondering how it went. I just told him a little bit, and I said, I'll leave it up to you to report the rest of it. I sort of like, you know what? I'll let you go, and I'll just comment about what you did as we go.
About what?
About the whole, how
I don't know how much
started.
I get into.
It started. Oh, you had a lot. You had the thing with the generator,
yeah, I know.
and connecting and learning how it works and all that. That's a lot. That's good technical stuff.
I mean, it is, but I don't know.
Do you want me to tell them?
No, I don't want any. No, I don't think. No, I don't want to spend another show talking about a 50 amp generator cable. That's not of great. I don't think that's of great interest to anybody.
Oh, I don't know about that. Come on, let's hear in the chat. Is it interesting to you to know about how? I mean,
I'll briefly cover what I did.
I really
don't feel like getting into it. It's been a long week. So it was just trying to hook a portable generator up to a transfer switch. The day before a hurricane was quite the process. Pretty complicated, trying to get all of the parts, making sure the gauge of wire was sufficient for the load that we were putting on it, and we tested it, and I believe if it was needed, it would have worked. So that's kind of a.
And that's not for his house. That's for the transmitter.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 50 amps would have been a little overkill for my apartment.
Yeah, I think you spend more time running around trying to find the odds and ends.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to find. Fortunately, there's a couple of local
supply houses.
Well, they weren't supply houses. They were, I don't know what you'd call them, just electric houses that, well, one really that helped me out, and then some other odds and ends stuff at Lowe's, and well, I think just Lowe's. And yeah, that was pretty much my week.
Yeah, so he hooked the generator and he went to sleep. That's what he did.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, we lucked out.
Yeah, you did. So what was the worst part that you had? I mean, as far in terms of hurricane.
Oh, I mean, of course, the wind. I mean, that's.
How long did the wind lasted? And
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, it was pretty much all Thursday wasn't a great day. That was, Thursday was a problem, but after Thursday passed, we were pretty good. So that was, Thursday wasn't great, but everything else was after that Friday morning, everything was good to go.
And you were not taking anything to stay up. You were just running on adrenaline kind of
What do you mean?
thing.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, I was drinking coffee and whatnot,
Okay, caffeine.
I guess.
See, that guys, this is what's going on when you're in it and you don't think that what you did was so great. But when you look at it from the outside,
Wasn't anything spectacular.
well, maybe not spectacular, but it was very positive and very good. And I think you had a good
Oh,
experience.
definitely. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
That's absolutely, that's absolutely the case.
So that was Dorian for Nick.
And there's a whole bunch of other issues in town too. One of the local TV stations had a major transmitter malfunction the day before the storm, and, I was reading some Facebook comments about what that problem was, and they were driving up to RDU during the middle of the hurricane to try to get some spare parts and over to Greenville to get some spare parts, and apparently they got back on the air late Thursday night, but, it's, one thing I will say is, the, uh there seems to be a lack of understanding of people outside of the broadcasting industry, what really goes on during a hurricane. I had some family members that made a recommendation to me to come home for the hurricane, and that there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into preparing for a broadcast facility for a hurricane, and I mean, even simple things like checking for fuel and generators is something that has to be done and dealt with, and backup audio paths and just uh, backup programming, live streams, backup internet. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it that, fortunately, this time we didn't have to use, but I'm confident if I needed to use it, it would have worked and it would have done what it needed to do. So
Yeah, and you tested it and it worked
yeah,
and
but
it's
we found out that that's that the other TV station in town found out when you go to test things, it ends up destroying things. So,
yeah,
I
you
mean,
don't test it in the middle of the
well
storm. You're
well, you
right.
but you do and you don't. I mean,
Yeah.
I could have been in the same situation when I tested that generator Wednesday night. It was 6 o'clock. If we'd blown up the transfer switch, we would have been screwed. So, um,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
well, we would have.
True,
No, there's
true.
no doubt about it. So that's part of the part of the game is testing things and having backups and, yeah, so now I gotta get it all unhooked and get it returned back to, Sunbelt, who rented it to us, so
Yeah, that'll be the easy part.
that's the plan.
And you had your, oh, what's the christening? No, what's the word when you go through something the first time?
This wasn't my first hurricane.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You had your first
Hurricane last year,
experience
yeah.
last year, which was really bad.
Well, we learned a lot from last year.
Right.
I tried doing last year what we did this year, and I was met with some, um, resistance. So, it was kind of funny to see, when I was asked to do everything this year that I wanted to do last year. I thought that was pretty fun. But yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, and it was an experience last year, and you avoided a lot of the pitfalls from last year's this year.
Yeah,
That
almost
was good.
everybody did.
Yeah. Yep. So Dorian is over.
At least
Did you?
for us.
Yeah, it's over for us. Did you hear anything about what it did up north? I did not
Yeah,
follow.
Halifax had, like, 600,000 people without power. Cranes were collapsing. Yeah, it was
Wow.
pretty bad up there.
Hmm.
But don't sleep tight. There's more storms brewing in the Atlantic, and the season is still
Yeah.
young, so and North Carolina is very susceptible now after receiving all that rainfall, um, for another storm. So hopefully nothing else happens this year, but if it does, it will probably be very bad.
Do you have numbers? How many inches in Wilmington?
Yeah, we didn't get that much. It was, I think it's on, Thursday, we broke a rainfall record of 8 inches,
Wow.
and then we got maybe another couple, so maybe I think 10 or 11 was some of the numbers that I heard. But, the real damage down here was tornadoes. There was 32 tornado warnings issued on Thursday, and, a couple of areas up in Emerald Isle, which is a little bit north of
Mhm.
here, um, got destroyed. Parts of that, I mean, just like war zone level destruction, and, but outside of that, widespread damage was pretty limited, or, yeah, it was pretty limited, so that was good.
Yeah, our rain gauge uh, showed an inch and a half from the beginning of the week. I emptied it, I think, on Monday.
Yeah, it also rained a lot on Wednesday too, so the rain was probably higher than that. We probably got another 2 or 3, so it may have been closer to 13 to 15 inches of rain total
Yeah,
in certain
that's
areas. Now, so that now puts us out of our drought, which we were in. So that's why, without being a, catastrophizer, another hurricane would be, likely very bad.
too much of a good thing.
Yeah, well, but not having enough rain also caused
Yeah.
problems too. It causes runoff because the ground is so hard, the water won't penetrate it.
Yeah,
So,
this is something that I was hearing you talking about.
that nobody else mentions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
what's a
if
problem?
that's very interesting. So if you're too dry,
The ground is too hard, the water think about trying to pour water on a rock, and it just rolls off the rock, it doesn't soak in. Now, when you have over rain over a long period of time, it will, but when you downpour on,
hard.
very dry. I don't know if ours was as dry. There's not really any way to know, but it's what I've always been told, and what I believe I know is that if the ground is very, very dry, it is as susceptible to, running off as ground that is very, very saturated. And, I don't know how much of the freshwater flooding wasn't very bad, throughout the storm, which was a good sign.
So it was the what do you call it when the wind pushing the
The storm surge wasn't that
surge?
bad either, but, obviously during Florence, we got, like, 30 inches of rain, and, that wasn't this. And it was very quick. It was in and out Thursday morning, gone by 4 AM Friday morning.
Yeah, they were saying that we may see sun in the afternoon. But hey,
It was a nice
first,
day on Friday, real nice
yeah,
day.
first thing in the morning, there was the sun.
Yeah, Friday was a real nice day.
And
So
apparently it did some damage also in on the Outer Banks.
oh, yeah,
Some,
they got shellacked up there.
yeah. But it's over now for us.
Yep. So,
Next.
yep,
Yep.
learn, prepare, be prepared. The season is still young, and,
Yeah, did you see those shots of that Jeep on the beach?
in Myrtle Beach, I did, yeah.
I mean, come on.
What are you gonna do?
How stupid can you be?
Stupidity.
Yeah. All right.
So that's a little bit of the hurricane, I'm gonna write a couple of blog posts on my, radio website about it, so maybe I'll do that this week, and I'll let everybody read in on those.
Which brings me to another question to you. You doing the show tonight?
No,
Do you know when you're gonna start doing the show again?
I do not,
Oh,
unfortunately.
that's okay. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Priorities and things that are more important are
You gotta remember, Amnon, tonight's the start of the NFL season.
oh.
Just saying.
Okay.
Just saying.
So, last week, Verizon said it'll begin automatically enroll eligible Android phones in its free call filter service. The company said it's making the move after the Federal Communication Commission in June voted to give wireless carriers greater power to aggressively block unwanted robocalls. We know our customers are sick and tired of the endless onslaught of robocalls. The vice president for Verizon said, our team is committed to developing and enhancing the tools that will help bring relief to our customers. This is another major step in that process. The free version of Call Filter will block robocalls, sending them automatically to voicemail, and put a warning label on potential spam calls. Verizon said that auto enrollment will begin last Tuesday for postpaid customers with eligible devices. Prepaid Android customers and iPhone users can enroll in the free service by downloading the Call Filter app. Verizon started offering a free version. We talked about it a couple of months ago, but now they are, and it was a cost of $2.99 a month. The paid service offers additional tools, ability to identify unknown callers by name, and spam number lookup feature. So let's see what this is going to do. For a few days, I would say a few days, back when they uh, announced it and the FCC was saying that they're going to fight it, there was a slowdown in robocalls. But boy, did they pick up.
What about no more robo?
What do you mean normal? No more robo uh works, but no more robo has to get um reports of a number that is
Well,
a
Verizon's gonna do the same thing.
well, I think they need to figure out a way how to stop people from spoofing.
Well,
It's a technical thing. I understand. I don't know anything about it, but that's what they have to do. Once they because these guys are just changing numbers and it's like they always stay ahead of
they're
the
not actually changing they're not actually ever using a number, so there's nothing to
yeah,
change. I mean, I got a spoofed call from a contact the other day on my
right.
phone.
Yeah.
From a business number, I got a spoofed call.
I'm
So,
getting spoofed calls from the Delta Force number,
talk
the
to
main
yourself.
Delta Force number. I said, "Well, how am I calling myself?"
Yeah.
But let's see what they're going to do. If they put their head to it, they can stop it. And I believe that the robocallers and the spammers realize that, and they're trying to rack in as much as they can. So it's even worse now.
But a Jeep pie is gonna ruin the world, so what's he gonna do? He's a awful, terrible person, so
Yeah.
he's not gonna help us.
Yeah.
He deserves to have his life threatened at NAB. You don't understand, Amnon. No, it's a huge problem. I'm gonna try.
It is.
Do you have any contact with the
No,
no more robo people?
no.
You don't? I wonder if they'd be interested in coming on the show and talking about their service. Their mobile app service is what I'm interested, not their landline service. 'Cause I mean, you pay for it. It's like $4 a month or
For a
something
cell
like that.
phone, yeah.
Yeah.
For a landline, many of the services have it built in. That's what
I'd
I
be
did.
curious how the mobile version works.
Yeah, the mobile, apparently you have to pay something. But it's look, if it's stopping 60, 70, 80% from that many calls that you would get otherwise, it's worth it.
Oh, but I don't know if it works and how it works, so that's what I'm asking.
I know when it works on my main number by the fact that the phone will ring once or half a ring and stop, and it says no data.
Hmm,
So I know that this was stopped by No More Robo. If it keeps ringing, then No More Robo didn't catch it, and I have to look at the number and decide whether I want to answer it or not.
gosh.
When you're in business, unfortunately, many times you end up answering it because you say, well, it may be somebody new. But and you do your part by right away logging into the to No More Robo and adding that number in.
Yeah.
But again, it's a reaction. So we'll see.
Hey, Gal.
Good morning.
Morning, Gal.
Sorry for joining late. Just spaced out. I'm busy with rebuilding my desktop computer, which decided to crap out around Thursday evening. So,
Crap out.
yeah, didn't boot anymore into Windows. Everything looks okay, so seems like storage. Got the. I finally decided on building the. I had a plan on rebuilding the computer OS to be. I talked about it. The
Yeah.
Linux running on with ZFS and Windows running as a VM
Right.
with the hardware pass-through. So I ordered two NVMEs to replace that. Currently, to put an additional NVMe M2 drive, if the motherboard isn't built for two
Right.
NVMe, has its quirks. So I got I got through that around 11 p.m. last night. Worked until 4 a.m.
Oh
this
boy.
morning. Went to sleep because I said I gotta meet Amnon in the morning,
And
and so I got an initial setup of the Linux server. Now I'm going to fight the old hardware pass through, see if that's tough or I'm lucky, and then I'll install the Windows VM and we'll see.
but your old drive with all the stuff on it is
It's
okay?
still accessible. It's still accessible.
Okay.
I think there's some corruption happened to some of the OS files, and because I didn't want to lose anything on that drive,
Mhm.
I decided to install on separate
Yep.
drives. I did get a nifty NVMe case to USB 3. So this is the case. Wait, I'm using laptop. This is the case, and it's pretty cool. Uh, I'll open it in a second. It comes with the screwdriver and everything. You place an NVMe drive in. Inside it, it has a nice place for the cable,
Mhm.
and
And it
it
plugs into
to a USB, a regular USB,
okay.
USB 3. So it can do up to theoretically up to 10 megabit per second.
Mhm.
So that's nice. Um, uh, yeah, dealing with the extension, what I found was not all lanes are created equally on the PCI Express board. And so even though I had two PCI X4 free slots, only the PCI X16 slot worked, even though I don't need it. But I'm good with that because I'm not using anything else there. So yeah, and that was like excruciating because running some um USB booted hardware detector from like 4 or 5 years ago. It's discontinued now. It's like an open source project that is discontinued. It saw the two NVMe drives, but running Linux or even the BIOS, it didn't see the second NVMe drive. So I was fighting that again and again and again, booting from this way, booting that way, thinking this might work.
And it's all
And
because
by
of the lanes?
well, basically it's because of the way Dell built the Alienware, plus how probably how the BIOS is configuring the system.
Hmm.
I don't have any other explanation. Theoretically, when the OS boots, it should be able to query and reset everything on the PCI Express board and not rely on anything coming from the BIOS. But apparently it does. And for some reason, only the wider lanes, the wider slots, they work. And that was a lot of pain. It has nothing to do with the NVMe drive. At first, I thought it might be the NVMe drive. Maybe I got one of them defective, started switching between them. So, yeah. But come about 10, 11 p.m., I got that solved. Now I'm fighting uh, installing an OS with a UEFI BIOS, making it boot properly. So I'm fighting that right now because up until now I played a lot with legacy BIOS and not with UEFI. Solve that, and we'll get to the next step.
Well,
Uh,
wow.
it's like the Chinese curse. Very interesting.
Chinese curse.
I got to say one thing though. This is the type of things I would be extremely uh, excited about when I was younger, like 20s. But then I didn't have the money to order all of the parts, so I'm okay. Now that I'm an adult, it's a lot easier dealing with this.
I don't have the right music to play in the background for that kind of story. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Well, good.
I do. I do have something exciting to tell about that I discovered this week, though.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that would be the focus of of the show and not my struggle with hardware. So I use home automation quite a lot. I've been using smart things,
Mhm.
and I have a Z-Wave network pretty much laid out the way I want. Every now and then, adding another component. The problem with smart things, which is a great system and it's rather open and there's a community and there's development and people add different add-ons and stuff, is that it's cloud-based. While you have a hub at home that controls Z-Wave, all the code, all of the automation, all of the control is through the smart things uh, uh, servers, which are run by today. They're run by Samsung bought smart, and it works great. I have no complaints, and I'm not too concerned. But there's a lot of, because it's part of a big company, and probably because it's a cloud service, it has a lot of limitations in terms of its flexibility and things it can do. So I can do a lot of things, and the community provides a lot of tricks. But doing that through the cloud services has its own quirks. You need to sign things through the cloud between two cloud services if you want them to communicate. And of course, if the internet is down, I have zero control of the house, even if I have internal Wi-Fi. So I was looking for a long time. I was looking for at an open source project called Home Assistant. If you haven't heard about it, uh, take a look at it. I'm not logged in to chat yet, so I'll type
Okay, you can
the
keep
link
going.
there later. So the Home Assistant um, uh, application is an open source home automation suite. Sorry, and it's rather mature. It's in 0.98 release right now, so it's about to be 1.0. It The community that's been working on it has been working on it for years. It started by a single person's project who wanted to script his own stuff locally instead of going remotely to things. And it has so Home Assistant is the home automation, the core that integrates everything, but it has some satellite services, and one of them is a complete OS called HASS.io, HASS.io, and that's also the site you can go directly to. And HASS.io is a complete management system for Home Assistant, and it's based on Dockers, so a world I'm really familiar and really like the way it works. And what it does, it's basically a complete system that knows how to back up itself, restart its components, uh, and allow you to add additional add-ons in the form of Docker. So you have full virtualization. It runs on Raspberry Pi or any other Linux that you want. So if you have a PC running Linux, you can also install it there. It's rather easy to install. And the amount of flexibility it allows you compared to, a really, really established system like SmartThings, it puts SmartThings to shame. It
Mhm.
has a mobile application that works terrifically. It has add-ons that allows you to uh, actually the best thing was the SmartThings integration. So once you set up networking properly, you can integrate to SmartThings cloud system, and you have full control over your SmartThings before you start moving things into Home Assistant. So you got Home Assistant sees all of your SmartThings. There's a very nifty environment, scripting environment, which is called Node-RED, which is an open source project by IBM. And Node-RED is, think about what is the main thing that stops people from scripting, and is that learning syntax is a rather complex task for somebody who hasn't coded anything in their life.
Mhm.
Node-RED hooks up to the system and provides you a UI, a flowchart like UI, where you just take nodes, you connect them with lines, and you define the operations with a web UI. And all of this is managed on the web, and it looks uh, it looks really really nice. It is All of the components are accessible from mobile as well as from a web browser. And so all I need to do now is just open a web browser, and I can control the home. I can change the workflows, things that I needed a lot of different services in the past in order to do that for the home automation. Um, One of the added bonuses are uh, the add-ons are not strictly Home Assistant centric, because those are Dockers which can run on their own. Um, Remember, we talked about Pi-hole in the past, and I've never got it to test it because of some complex networking setup. It comes with Pi-hole. Pi-hole is one of the add-ons. All you do is add it to it after the HASS.io networking is set up. Just adding Pi-hole to it is simple. It already knows how to set everything up, and all you need to do is now set it up as your default DHCP server, and you got a network-wide um, add-on. Uh, ad blocker and malware blocker, DNS based. Simple.
Hmm.
So what I'd like to do in one of our next calls is actually go through how a home automation dashboard like this looks.
That would be
I'll,
great.
yeah, and actually show it on screen and describe it, and so our listeners can also appreciate it, and try to explain how simple the setup is. There's a lot of YouTubes around there, so I won't be the first one, but I think our listeners would appreciate it. And in order to experiment this, and this is before you have a single smart home switch or anything, light switch. Before that, you can, the HAS.io is a solution for home-based, let's call it smartness, right? With any service that you can think of. And dealing with the concept of a home-centric server that takes your home into account and um, not just the services you want to run. So not just the geeky stuff, not just the media server, not just um, uh, 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 a DNS server, not just router, but something centric that you have in your hand and you can manage it from outside. And so that's a really cool thing. One of the add-ons is a Plex server. Another add-on is they have add-ons for databases to track everything that happens through the system and then report on history, so you can track that. Think about managing home presence, right? Who's at home? And it does it by pinging the known addresses of your phone, for example. So you don't need new equipment once you put a server at home, and the server, anything you think about is yours. It's not interacting with anything outside of your home. So you're free to experiment. It's not Big Brother looking out at what you're doing. It's you,
Mhm.
your own yourself, right? You're your own Big Brother. But self measuring is a lot different, right, than external measuring by some anonymous face behind a huge conglomerate like Google or Apple or Amazon. So very interesting.
All right.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right. Did I understand you correctly, though, when you were saying that it's not certain system centric? I mean, so you can control any of what's available out there through
Yeah,
HAS.io?
it has a huge list of integrations. It
Okay.
integrates into smart things, Nest. Um, Somebody asked me about Wink. I think I saw Wink there as well. So there's a lot of systems it knows how to integrate with. And for example, that Node-RED um, scripting UI, once HAS.io is integrated with those systems, every component in that system becomes a component, a node in Node-RED, and you can do whatever you want with it. So you just need just need to hook up things at home,
Mhm.
and that is, I think, the coolest thing of it. And it has a snapshotting system. So if you want to experiment with some settings and you're unsure, you take a snapshot and you try, and it doesn't work, and then you revert from the snapshot, and it does it all on its own. And because it's Docker based, it's easy to do because it knows how to take down a component, replace the files, and put it up, and it has everything backed up. So even backing up and reverting and going back and forth, it's like the system is built for experimentation. Um, because it's ramping up to its official version, the rate of updates is currently staggering. So literally once a day I get a notification there's a new version of the system, and so it's scary, right? So it has a component, an add-on that you can install, which tests all of your configurations and tells you if your configuration, once you upgrade, if it'll break. And the way it does it, it runs the system on a separate virtual so separate Docker virtual one that isn't connecting to all of your subsystems, but will actually try to load the configuration and see if anything breaks it. And if it breaks, it says, hey, don't update yet. This and this component can't load. And then you can experiment with that.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, for the power that it gives you in your hand and the peace of mind that it adds by managing it properly is, I mean, I wish Windows would do stuff like that, right? Tell me
That's
if
what I was
an
going to
upgrade is
say.
going to break everything.
Yeah, I was going to say
Right?
Microsoft needs to talk to them and find out.
Yeah. So this is awesome, and it's worth the time for anyone, and it's so easy with, I mean, with the setup. I bought a Raspberry Pi with a case and a proper adapter for I think less than $80. And the setup was rather easy. You just download a file and something called Etcher, which uh, writes the stuff to an SD card, and you write the stuff to the SD card. If you want it to be hooked up by Wi-Fi and not cable, then there's a file that you need to add with your Wi-Fi information, and then you boot up. Sorry, you put the SD card and boot up the
Raspberry.
Pi, and in about 20 minutes, that's the time it takes to download everything and all that. In about 20 minutes, you have a system. If you do it on a Linux machine that's already installed, it took about 5 minutes to set it up.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, and it works surprisingly well. I mean, the only caveat I think the average person, which is not too technical about, would struggle a bit would be the networking stuff on how to expose it outside of the network, which I already had experience with. So that would probably take another 10 or 20 minutes of of researching and applying the configuration. But the guides are rather clear, are very well, and there's a lot of content in YouTube and stuff to support that you can find how to do it. There's plugins to use Let's Encrypt, which makes it really really simple once you know what domain you're going to use. Uh, and there are plugins for DuckDNS, which is a free dynamic DNS service. Um, I didn't use that because I use my own domain, but those who need that, very simple. You in a matter of minutes, you have a system you can log in from the outside with a secure HTTPS connection, and then it's literally there's like limitless possibility.
Yeah, just keep experimenting.
Yeah.
You see the question in chat?
Does this override the way IoT phone home? So it depends on the IoT solution. If you have a cheap Chinese camera that passes the image through uh, the internet, then you'll still get it through the internet. But if that cheap Chinese camera can also be disconnected from the internet and work only internally with the internal IP, and it works with something like RTSP. I think I get the name correctly. The streaming, um, the streaming over IP for video, then it will handle that internally without sending the images outside. Only if you connect from the outside with your phone, which is you, to your server, not going through any other service in the middle, they'll go out. So yes, it provides that sort of control.
So it takes
And you can
it takes you directly from the phone to the system versus going back to the app
exactly,
taking you to the server of the
exactly.
company.
They actually have, so there's a company now, and they're working closely with them that is providing cloud services for like a cloud-based HAS.io, where you pay. Would you completely? Yes, yes. My home assistant is completely controlled by me and no other third party. I mean, I'm still using smart things because everything's already hooked up there, and it makes it easy for me. But I control Home Assistant. Nobody else has control over it, and that is really that's what I'm excited about, right? It's an opportunity finally to get the power of these um, huge systems, and somehow this was done by enthusiasts who just decided to build something better. And because the target system was a Raspberry Pi, a small, compared to the compared to the laptop, or compared to a, a workstation that you use, or a desktop machine, a Raspberry Pi is a weak machine, right? It is equivalent to, I don't know, a 3-year-old phone,
Mhm.
uh, in terms of processing. But the fact that that can run everything and be as versatile as what I'm describing, it's like, it is mind blowing to me. And I mean, anyone who knows me, and I know that they're a bit geeky, I can't stop about talking about this. This is like really exciting. So
Ah, this is nice.
yeah, yeah, this is very nice. I'm starting to think that as a present, I'm gonna get people these Raspberry Pis pre-built. Just take it, use it, hook it up, start using it. It's really exciting. Yeah, I really like the way. I've been working on a home server for the past couple of years, and tweaking it and making it more my own, and every time discovering a nice system and a nice service that I can add to it. This one is like, here, take a home server and just use it like you use your phone with the App Store, right?
Mhm.
The experimentation is a lot less accessible. So you definitely don't need to be a high level tech to appreciate everything and to get everything um, configured and hooked. What you need is, you need some patience. It's not perfect. It still requires you to make some changes in one or two places. Um, but it's not daunting as installing a brand new operating system, and trying to figure out the little details. The details are presented in such a way, in a UI, in a friendly way, and in and safety is like built there straight on. If a service doesn't need to be open, even in your internal network, it won't be open, and you can still access it through the HAS.io. They have something called ingress, which means uh, through the Home Assistant, which it runs in its own Docker. Um, you're accessing the internal Dockers through it, and so it presents on the web page, but it isn't exposed to your internal network. So it's like the way a system today should be designed, and it was created by enthusiasts. It was created by the people who actually want to use it, and not anyone who wants to sell it. One of the nice things that I encountered was like a declaration of the project head, the guy who started all of this. After a few years of working on this, and getting closer to the 1.0 release, uh, about a year ago he put out the declaration of where this project is headed and what's the philosophy behind it. And that's exactly that. Keeping it private, keeping it to yourself, never never do anything that would risk, privacy or security. And those goals, you feel it in the implementation and how it works. And I mean, I have the benefits of really understanding a lot more of how things are interconnected than most, um, but I can assure you, if you're somebody who's rather a layman in this field, and you want to experiment with this, and you were concerned about everything else that you found, this is definitely the place to start.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about, that you need patience and all that. You need the same kind of patience if you get an Echo or an assistant and you try to hook it to home automation. It's not like just point and click.
Right,
It it
right.
it takes work.
It
So
has also an ability to hook up to Echo. I haven't seen what it can do with it, but I think it can send messages to Echo as well.
yeah, well, I mean, the
Yes,
point is that it's not any probably not harder once you have it installed to
I don't think so.
configure it. That's great.
Not only that, finding what to do is a lot clearer than finding what to do with an Echo. Because with
Yeah,
an Echo, because it's first, it's a marketing tool, Echo, right? We need to remember that it is um, an extension of Amazon in your home. And Amazon, I mean, they're selling. When you think about the hardware behind an Echo,
mhm.
right, and the price that you pay, it's ridiculous, right? And the reason is because Amazon knows that it can make a lot of money just by having Echo in your home,
Right.
right? And I'm not talking about even the metadata collection and all of that. I'm talking about just the fact that you would buy something through them, right, in a more convenient way. That is part of what's driving this, right? So, um, and by allowing them to introduce something like Echo uh, at home, then you're more open to any other home services that they're providing, right? The security service that they're providing, that they're selling based on Echo, with the camera and the door lock and all of that. That is driving, right, a lot of business for them.
Sure.
This is something that you're doing for yourself, completely for yourself, and with the quality that this is presented in, it is surprising, right? That you get something this good just for yourself without feeling the need of owing anything to anyone,
Mhm.
or without exposing yourself, right? Without exposing yourself. And I'm not talking vulnerability exposure. I'm guessing things like that are still out
Yeah.
there, but the rate of updates to cover these is also staggering, a lot more than, let's say, a Windows update. So, but you're not exposing yourself, but just by deciding to test. And this is what I really, really like about it.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yep. I talked enough about it. Come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Change the
and like you said, maybe in one of the next couple of shows, you can show people how to do it.
Yeah,
And I'm sure if
I
it
will.
was if it was anything that would take uh rocket scientists to do, you wouldn't even try to show people because you.
No, 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 no. This
So
was,
yeah.
yeah.
All right.
I'll I'll try. I'm trying to think of what would be most approachable, right? And so a Raspberry Pi is rather a very simple setup,
Mhm.
and it also provides the peace of mind of no risk, uh, because I can reuse the Raspberry Pi as something else if this doesn't work, right? So anybody who is courageous enough to buy a Raspberry Pi and experiment with it, definitely top 5 projects in it. Put a Hass.io in it. And you can always experiment with the VM. And most people have become comfortable with running a VM. So maybe we should do a demonstration of how to run VMs on Windows today. I mean,
Oh, well.
VirtualBox is really accessible, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can also show how to run HAS.io inside of VM, and of course how to run HAS.io on a Raspberry Pi.
All right.
Okay.
We'll do it. Okay. In the meantime, let's take a step back, kind of. The Sony Walkman is back. The electronics maker will release a new version of its revolutionary portable music player. It announced Friday at IFA 2019, a leading annual consumer electronics trade show in Berlin. First released in 1979, the Sony TPS L2 Walkman was the first truly portable personal cassette player, and it changed the way we listen to music. Sony has since released various iterations of its Walkman, but it's gone the extra mile with this special 40th anniversary edition. The NWA100 TPS Walkman has a 40th anniversary logo printed on the back. And it comes with a specially designed case and package that pay homage to the original TPS L2 Walkman. It also has a unique cassette tape interface for those who want to take a trip down memory lane. Now, the problem will be to find a cassette player that will play portably. It runs Android, and it offers battery life of up to 26 hours. It is built for the future with the USB-C port for connection. Its cost and release date haven't officially been announced. So, Walkman, I remember, boy, years ago, we had a Walkman. Wow,
A what?
a Walkman.
A what? What you mean? You mean you had an iPod?
Well, yeah, right. Did you have a Walkman?
I think at one point I got a hand-me-down Walkman from my father
With a cassette player. Not digital.
No, not digital. I don't know if I ever had one that had a cassette player. I do remember a little portable AM/FM radio thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that I had. I don't remember ever having a cassette. I never had cassettes. No, that was
Okay. Well,
never had a CD player either. Portable CD player. Those weren't really I was still too old for me.
Well,
yeah.
I can tell one thing I can tell you about portable CD players. That was such a bad idea.
But that's what
It never worked well because the optical reader,
Mhm.
right, needed the disc to be super stable. So the moment you put it in a bag or something, it usually won't work.
You're talking about CD.
Yeah, CD player.
I'm talking about cassette.
No, cassettes. Yeah, cassettes were
Oh,
awesome.
okay, yeah.
God, you think a portable CD player is a bad idea? How do you
Yeah.
explain this?
This is nuts.
I mean, a portable record player in your car. I mean, that's the future right there.
Well, unless he has like
A
the
gyroscope.
best stabilizers. I'm not talking for the tabletop. I'm talking about for the car. If it's a smooth ride, hey, why not?
No.
On a Tesla, put that in a Tesla.
Yeah, you can play games on the Tesla and listen to records.
Amazing.
Those are real.
Yeah, well, people,
Want to listen to music on the go? Portable record player.
8-track.
So you can't beat the sound.
Amnon, your new car doesn't have a tape deck.
No. It has a CD, yeah. It was weird to take a portable CD player. And even if you don't put it in a bag, even if you walk with it, it would, wow. every now and then a little jump.
Yeah.
Unless apparently, if you could buy a real expensive one that had all kind of stabilizers and stuff, it would work. But the ones that you would buy just to walk around and listen to music, yeah, it wasn't made to walk around. But
Yeah.
they
As far as
sold
I recall,
oodles and
some
oodles.
of them were branded Walkman.
Some of them were branded.
Yeah, I mean the ones Sony
Yeah,
sold,
yeah, the
they were
Sony
branded
ones.
Walkman. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So the Walkman 40th anniversary is out. I don't know how this works because I don't use Twitter for anything more than just announcing the shows, but because the Twitter is disabling the ability to send tweets via SMS messages.
Yeah.
After an incident last week when the company CEO Twitter account got hacked via this feature. The social
Yeah, I heard about that.
the social network said the move is only temporary, but did not provide a timeline for the feature reactivation. Twitter blamed the whole issue on mobile network and vulnerabilities that need to be addressed by mobile carriers.
There's
So,
Gall. Go ahead, Gall. Say you were right. Go ahead.
No, this is exactly what
That's
what
exactly
I'm
what
I
you're
was
talking about.
explaining. Yeah,
Yep.
it's just that somebody did it to the head of Twitter. Yeah, that's nice. So I'm guessing because I didn't go into the details, but just by the fact that they mentioned that it was hacked via SMS, somebody hijacked his number, and the way to hijack the number, the easiest way is to just call the support line for your. First, you need to know the number. You need to know to which cell phone provider it's part of. Then you need to convince the representative on the line that you are the owner of that line. And apparently, social engineering hackers, social engineering hackers, they can do that. There's some nifty YouTube interviews with some of them, and some of them do it live with the interviewer's number on the spot. Um, so you just need to sound a certain way, and the other person is going to be empathetic and help you out. Uh, and once they switch the phone numbers to a new SIM, um, they can reset your password or whatever if it's based on an SMS. And that's the way it works. It's as simple as that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so yes, I can agree with the
step.
with their step of blaming SMS as being a culprit. I wouldn't. I don't think I would. Trying to think. Well, yeah, the way it worked was with with an authenticated with an authenticated phone number. You could send in SMS. If you recall, Twitter was 140 characters long, the messages. The reason was that was an SMS message. And that was the first interface. So before working through it from the web, their concept was mobile first, way before um, way before like IP based phones were everywhere. They were SMS based, and so by sending SMSs to the Twitter number, you're basically identifying yourself as the person, and there's no there's no re-authentication needed like the app does when it connects via IP. So yeah, I can see why that would be a security risk, and I'm guessing that's what the hackers wanted, for them to address that security risk.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Yeah.
Another thing about authentication and like in March, criminals sought the help of commercially available voice-generating AI software to impersonate the boss of a German parent company that owns a UK-based energy firm. They then tricked the latter's chief executive into urgently wiring said funds to a Hungarian supplier in an hour,
This I don't get. I never get this.
with guarantees that the transfer would be reimbursed immediately. The company's CEO, hearing the familiar slight German accent and voice patterns of his boss, is said to have suspected nothing. $243,000 where, I mean, you hear your boss calling you on the phone and you recognize the voice. I mean, how does an AI sounds just like the person? That's what I don't understand. But yeah, it was all over the news. Amazing. Yeah.
Sounds like that person shouldn't have managed the funds anyway.
No, it should not. He shouldn't have.
But
Damn,
I mean, I'm sorry for him, but this is the part in today's world, right? Which is, I don't know, frustrating, infuriating that
that it can happen.
that people fall for that
Mhm.
after seeing all of the movies.
Right.
Right. I'm not talking about, okay, I'm in this world, I know that this can happen, but it's like everybody's telling the stories one to another. Have you heard about that guy and that guy and that guy? It's like you don't even need to be hooked up to the world to know that that's a thing, especially if you're managing that type of fund. I'm sure you've heard of other people falling for that, right? So you can let it happen to yourself as well.
Yeah, these are people that are not keeping their nose to the internet. They don't know what's going on.
Yep, that's
and they figured, I better do what the boss is saying. I'll better do what the boss is telling me to do. I don't want to lose my job. Yeah, now.
And now he will lose his
Yeah.
job.
I had an issue once with Apple support for a business account where the name, I didn't know whose account the name was under. So I called and they told me. And I told them who I was, which was me,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't help me. So I hung up, called back, and said I was the person that they said the account name was under, and they gave me full access to everything I needed, which was fine. I had all the not that the name was the only information I needed, credit card information and all that other stuff that I had, but simply just lying about who I was, they were able to help me.
Right, because the moment you lie about who you are, the liability is on you.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's all about liability for them. But that's the thing with the story Amnon brought, right?
Mm-hmm.
The liability isn't on the caller.
No.
This is right. So that's the thing. That's the difference. So yeah.
But it's just crazy how that system kind of works. Like, so I have the exact same amount of information, right? I needed an address, whatever debit or credit card that was on the account, and the email address. That's what I needed. Yeah. This wasn't anything complicated. This was just I had an issue with my two-factor through Apple. Right. And simply just saying I was a different person with the same amount of information, I got access to the account.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know if that term doesn't is not being used. That let's coin it trickware. Trickware. This is trickware. It's not malware, not a virus. It's trickware, right?
Maybe, but it depends on what it's doing. A trickware will probably be something like you give a person your phone to try an interface, and it puts out fart sounds. That will be a trickware. When you're maliciously stealing identity, I wouldn't call it a trick.
I never heard about this company called Zerodium, a company which claims it buys and then resells software exploits to government and law enforcement agencies, has updated its price list today. And Android exploits are worth more than iOS exploits for the first time ever. Hey, we have a sale on.
This reminds me of measuring music popularity by the amount of pirated copies. Yeah.
Talking about music and streaming and money, revenue from streaming services in the United States grew by 26% in the first 6 months of the year,
Impressive.
according to a trade group, Recording Industry Association of America. The Wall Street Journal, that's who reported it, that makes for the revenue of 4.3 billion, according to research conducted by the group, which represent approximately 80% of the music industry overall revenue. How many of you remember when we were talking about the fact back in the days of shoot, I don't even remember the service when we were downloading music from
Napster?
Napster. And before, we were saying if they just would go and do it that way.
Yeah.
4.3 billion. I mean,
I wonder if we can find stats about the music industry in the 90s when piracy, like widespread piracy, started. Yeah, I'll try to find that.
yeah, it's just amazing. It's they did it, and for those of you who are programmers, in 2016, the Government Accountability Office reported the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Veterans Affairs, and the Social Security Administration, to name just three, who are still using COBOL. According to a COBOL consulting company, which goes by the delightful name COBOL Cowboys, 200 billion lines of COBOL code are still in use today, and 90% of Fortune 500 companies still having COBOL code keeping the lights on. And if you've received cash out of an ATM recently, it's almost certain COBOL was running behind the scenes. I thought it was XP running behind the scenes on these things, but COBOL still going
is
strong.
running on XP.
That's amazing.
You've got a couple COBOL boxes at your house, don't you, Amnon? You do.
Well, I mean,
What are you wait, what are you talking about, Nick?
You do. You've got
the one?
They're blue.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You've got a couple. You tried giving me one. You're part of the problem.
Yeah. Well, that's not a problem. This is nice.
Well, Amnon, I've got some news. I've got some bad news to report. Yeah, play it out. I've turned into you.
What do you have?
I've had to pause my Windows updates on my computer here.
Because?
So the most recent version of Windows keeps breaking my sound drivers.
Right.
And until I went in and actually paused the update, which was under advanced security options or something like that.
Yep.
Every hour it would ask me to do the update. So I put I think it's a 30-day pause on it.
You can which version of 10 is that?
I have no idea.
I think on mine I can do it for 365 days. But
Yeah, I mean,
it's
I don't want to do it for
ridiculous.
that long, but I put a temporary thing on it, and then I'll deal with it when hopefully they've fixed whatever issue it is in the next 30 days. But every hour, because I've rolled back 3 times already, because it just randomly does it. I'll
boy.
leave my house, and if I'm gone for more than an hour, the prompt pops up, it does the update, and then I come back to a new version of Windows. So I've reverted 3 times already, and I eventually had to click the little "Don't give me updates for 30-day" box, and so it's unfortunate, but
When did you do that?
when did I did that yesterday.
And it works?
Yeah, it hasn't popped up since,
Okay.
but every hour it would pop up and say, "We've got something new for you," or "Something new coming soon," or "We've got new features for you." And I would just keep clicking delay by an hour, delay, and I really realized how many hours I was sitting here at my computer after that prompt kept popping up. So I eventually found that there's a quick way to disable it for 30 days. But yeah.
Huh?
So I'm sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That is actually smart.
So
Gal, I'm sorry. You were trying to say something and I stopped.
I was trying. Oh, about COBOL. They still keep the systems updated. I
Yeah.
mean, the languages. You see updated versions of COBOL for Windows 10 and stuff like that. So it's
There must be a good reason.
while the language is really outdated, the systems. I mean, you can start a brand new from scratch system today writing COBOL. I wouldn't recommend it. I wrote COBOL in school and had a project in it actually, and I really liked the concept behind the language. It's just compared to modern programming language and their constructs, it's really verbose and really cumbersome to do simple things, and that is probably the main reason people won't even start learning it. But it was a decent language, decent database based language. Uh, I don't know if SQL as a language is much better than COBOL, for example. I think it provides the same services, the same type of complexity. So we can laugh how much we want, but I don't think it's going away completely if it doesn't need to. I don't think any new project will be started with COBOL.
No,
Even if
but I mean
in an
it's
environment that already runs COBOL, you will try to hook it up to something more modern, something that's easier to write and um, and
but it's
maintain.
safer. It sounds like it's safer.
Yes and no. I mean, it's safer just by the fact that it's less interesting.
Okay, it doesn't matter what it is,
Yeah. And it really depends if those systems are hooked up to the network, to the internet, or not.
True.
If they're just on a local network, then it's safer just by being on the local
Yeah.
network, and it might
Yeah.
be like totally exposed to exploit, but it's just not exposed to the big playground, and so it's not being bullied.
Huh?
But yeah,
All
I
right.
don't think I don't think other than uh, novelty, like being a curious one, I don't think any hacker is really interested in COBOL. They might
That
be interested in the assembly language beneath everything, right? Not just
yeah,
specific.
because
Uh,
everything goes back down to it. Any
right,
language.
right, right. But I do think that even on that level, the hackers today, they're focused more on stuff like JavaScript. We need to remember hacking today is completely different than hacking in the 90s. Because up until the 90s, hacking was usually a curiosity. It came out of curiosity and it came out of the real want to know what makes things tick. But after the 90s, with the internet being hooked up everywhere, especially to businesses, right?
Mhm.
It became those two factors plus I can make money out of it, right? And the moment I can make money out of it, uh, joined, it changed the way hacking looks. So there are a lot. There's a whole range of the type of hackers, but most of them today are in it for the money. So
Right,
it's a different playing ground.
it used to be for fun and just to show off. Now
Well,
it's
yeah, malicious
big
fun,
money.
but still
Yeah,
fun,
right.
right? Let's put it this way: hackers still. I'm guessing a lot of the hackers when they start, it's for fun. But it's also a complete disregard of the other's
Yeah, correct.
reaction to it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Um, talking about hacking and business, Google, which has already paid security researchers over $15 million since launching its bug bounty program in 2010, last week increased the scope of its Google Play Security Reward Program, the GPSRP. Security researchers will now be rewarded for finding bugs across all apps in Google Play with 100 million or more installed. So if the app has 100 million or more installs and somebody finds uh, bugs in them, Google will pay. At the same time, the company launched the Developer Data Protection Reward Program in collaboration with bug bounty platform HackerOne. That program is for data abuse in Android apps, OAuth projects, and Chrome extension. Google also uses this vulnerability data to create automated checks that scan all Google Play apps for similar vulnerabilities. Affected app developers are notified via the Play Console. The App Security Improvement ASI program provides them with information on the vulnerability and how to fix it. In February, Google revealed that ASI has helped over 300,000 developers fix over 1 million apps on Google Play. That I mean, if you're good with that kind of stuff and you sit there and you just go through apps, you can make money and you're actually helping. You're hacking and you're making money because it's I don't know if you could call it legal hacking, but it's allowed, permissible, whatever.
Well, as long as you do it in a controlled environment, yeah.
Yes, yes, but you can make probably good money. Boy, are you thinking about it? Is that it?
Nah, remember that while you can make good money out of it, it is like a lottery in the term that you need to be the first,
Yeah.
right? So as long as very few people do it and do it well, those will make money out of it. The moment everybody is trying to chase that, then it becomes a lottery. It becomes who gets to it first. It becomes a race, and most of them won't make a living from it. Let's put it this way.
I mean, you could possibly make a living uh, because those apps and programs that they want you to uh, debug, so to speak. It's not really to debug; it's just to point the bugs. Keep on, they keep on producing them. There is new stuff that's coming, and the new stuff. if they were saying that they're going to do it, they're going to open all the apps in the App Store to that. A lot of people will be quitting their jobs and just doing that. But remember, this is only for apps that has 100 million or more installed. I don't know how many of these are out there. It couldn't be that many, but apparently there's enough that they want people to find the bugs in them. What is? I have one thing here. Millennials. With its reputation for stylish products and eco-friendly initiatives, you'd be forgiven for thinking Apple would be most millennials' favorite brand. While this had been the case for the past 6 years, Cupertino has been replaced at the number one spot. Surprisingly, it's now Amazon that's most loved by those born between 81 and 96.
I'm not a millennial.
Few were expecting Amazon to be the most popular brand given the company less than stellar reputation. So it's okay to go around and bitch about Amazon doing this and not paying enough, and and who's doing this? The younger generation.
Yeah, but remember, this is favorite brand in terms of what I mean. People my age don't care about federal income tax and if Amazon is or isn't paying it. They care about being able to order something and having it show up on their
Right.
door tomorrow.
That's the thing. That's
Yeah.
what they care about. And they said, hey, this is my brand now. Forget Apple. This is my brand. It's
No,
I
it's
don't
not forget
see.
Apple, but but here's the thing. We've discussed this on this show many a time. I think Gal and I discussed it a couple weeks ago. Apple in 2000 from 2009 to call it 2013 really was innovating in the cell phone space. They were doing some pretty incredible things. I know Android was too, but I'm saying from those in that time period, they were doing incredible things in the cell phone space. But in my estimation, since the iPhone 4 or 5 and Android's had some of the same issues as well, there frankly hasn't been a whole hell of a lot of difference because they kind of made the phones really small. Now they're making them really big. They've hit a bit of a um, I don't know what you'd call it, a technical revolution barrier where that's trying to figure out what do people want next.
Yeah.
And so of course, once you stop innovating, I mean, I'm gonna have to get a new iPhone here in the next probably in the next year or so because I'm starting to see the age on mine. But
Oh, come on.
what?
You're not serious.
I am serious. What do you mean?
How old is it? 2 years?
No, I have an iPhone 8.
Oh, okay. Oh,
No. Yeah, I don't have a 10 or anything. It's a couple years old and it's fine. I use it every day. I don't mind getting a new one. But I'm not there isn't this ooh and ah about Apple that there I mean, you guys remember that with the oh my god, you have an iPhone. An iPhone. Oh my god, Apple. It's the greatest thing. I mean, that just doesn't exist anymore because the phones are so similar. Everybody's making the same phone. So it's not surprising that it's not the what was the term? The most favorite brand?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising because guess what? They're making a really good product and it's consistent and it's reliable. So I mean, what is there to talk about? At least with Amazon, there's constantly doing different things, and you buy your iPhone, you're done. With Amazon, you're buying new crap every week, and it's getting delivered to your house. And the there's new shows that they're bringing out on Amazon Prime and Amazon Music, and of course, can't forget the home automation stuff. And
Yeah, it's across the board kind of.
yeah, so but just like Apple was, Amazon is in the Amazon. Everything Amazon does is great, and everything is new and exciting and cool. That'll eventually wear off, and it'll be something else.
But
Hopefully.
that's the thing. Apple never was that way. If you look at it objectively, right? Apple had its big hit with the Mac, right?
And with the
And
iPhone.
then and then the innovation within the Mac was really, really staggering.
Yep.
Right? And they managed to throw one other twist when they came up with the MacBook Air, because uh, they had the iMac, which was those colorful CRTs.
Yep.
That was ridiculous. Nobody really bought into it,
Schools
except
did.
Yeah,
no, yeah. But
schools.
what I mean is nobody bought into it as like this is the fantastic new thing.
Yeah.
And so their their MacBook Air, the really tiny ones, and the iPhone and iPad. It
Yeah.
was always technology. It was always computing.
Mhm.
They tried going into the auto industry and they failed. They tried to go into home automation and they never really succeeded. I
Video
mean,
games.
HomeKit exists, but nobody uses it, right?
Yeah.
It's really limited.
You can't forget about
They,
the Apple console. They tried making the Apple
yeah, the
console in the
Apple,
'90s.
even the Apple TV isn't doing as well as it compared to the iPhone and iPads and all that,
Well,
right?
compared to Roku and Amazon boxes, it's
Exactly,
not doing well at
exactly.
all.
So they, while they are perceived as an innovation company, right? Their innovations are, they're very substantial, but they're limited, right? They're not like um, the um, the field that they cover isn't that huge. And when you look at companies like Amazon, I think Amazon, compared to even Google, right, innovation wise, they have created, they have infiltrated our lives, at least in the US, right, a lot more than any other company.
Mm-hmm.
But
And most of it, and most of it in the last 5 years.
agreed. But unlike what Apple does, a lot of the innovation that Amazon, you touch your iPhone, right? When you use your iPhone every day, you're touching it, you're holding it, you can see it, it's physical. The innovations that Amazon have done, you could look at just what they've done for the shipping industry and the way that they've changed supply chain management. That within itself is, I would make the argument, is more revolutionary than anything Apple may have ever done. But you don't touch supply chain management. You don't touch the fast shipping and all the other things that Amazon has done. So it's just different. People just, you don't relate. You and I do because we're nerds and it's interesting. But the 28-year-old girl that is walking around with her iPhone, AirPods, and Apple Watch, she doesn't touch supply chain management or anything else, but she uses Amazon all the time. But no, I agree with you totally. I mean, what Amazon and Google, those two companies really have done, blow Apple and Microsoft, frankly, out of the water in the last 10 years, 15 years.
Right. And I think what,
But you don't touch it. You touch your Windows computer. You don't touch what Amazon has done with how they handle 2-day shipping and that whole and knowing how to stock
well,
certain products where in the country.
you don't touch it, but you definitely feel it, right? And
Well,
when you
if you
compare,
think about it,
yeah, when you compare the 1 day shipping, right?
yeah.
Get it tomorrow, which is for a lot of Prime products exist, and not to talk about Prime now. When it is in stock for Prime now, right? It's like magic. It's like unbelievable. But they did, maybe the reason the changes in the past year is because you do touch it every day at home today with the echoes. They're a lot more visible today than they were a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
And
but you
tie
don't touch
that,
them. But you don't touch them.
yeah. Now
Hmm.
they were never about quality,
Who?
right? Amazon,
No.
uh, right? They're about affordability, about accessibility, right?
Usability.
About I don't know about visibility so much. Visibility is just
Usability.
usability. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, usability, and tie that to the fact that they're running the infrastructure for probably more than half than the tech world today, right?
Mhm.
It's like they're everywhere, and people have noticed.
Yeah, I mean, with the iPhone, if you get if something is not working on it, or if the battery go, I mean, you could, depending on your temper, you could just smash it to the floor. What do you do with Amazon? So it didn't come today. You know what are you going to do?
Yeah.
The
Stop paying Prime.
Yeah, I ordered a router for Omar for Friday from Amazon. It says it'll be here Sunday. So I asked his son, I said, is it okay if we do it Sunday? Because he couldn't find something locally
That has it. Yeah.
he liked. So no, that's fine. So I ordered it and it said it'll be there Sunday. This morning, when I got up and checked the mail, it says your package has been shipped. It'll be there Monday.
Ooh.
You know, I mean,
that is-
come on.
Yeah.
But you know, it's what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to punch the monitor? You're going to, you know,
Well,
no,
Amazon, I mean, I kind of dealt with this past week. We were talking about earlier in the show with the hurricane. I mean, I was looking for very a very specific cable and or a very specific connector, a 50 amp 240 volt connector, and they sold those on Granger and other locations, but it was the same thing. I mean, you're not getting it tomorrow. Unfortunately, a local electrician's place had it, but it's a struggle, man. If you need something today, it's I mean, I've said this since I moved down here. I have because of my close proximity to Walmart, I have done more shopping at Walmart than I've done at Amazon in the past 2.5 years, by far. I
well,
went in there the day before I went away to Seattle. I bought a video game that I could have bought on Amazon. It would have been a couple dollars cheaper, and I bought a charger for my Nintendo Switch, which I guarantee you would have been cheaper on Amazon. But I didn't want to deal with Amazon's bullshit of you order it, it has a ship date, it doesn't show up on time, and now you're scrambling to try to find a solution. I just didn't want to deal with it.
yeah. So it goes both ways.
It does, yeah. And Amazon's done a whole bunch of that recently. Now, if there's certain things that you can't beat Amazon, if you don't need something immediately, Amazon's almost always got the best price on it. I'll order it on Amazon. But if I don't have to order it on Amazon, I really don't. Because of what you just described. You told you told Omar's son that you were going to do this on Sunday.
Yeah.
Now you're not.
And they don't have internet.
No. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I know.
It's like what are you going to do?
The last week it was weird that I actually stopped the driver and asked her. I said, I don't know how Amazon is making money this way. She said, what happened? I said, 3 packages I got today. I mean, each one was like $5 and $7 and $11. Each one came by a different vehicle.
That's supply chain management, though.
It is ridiculous. And then the next day, one was supposed to come with USPS, with the postal service.
Yeah.
Got the mail, didn't get the package. Got an email a couple hours later, said he couldn't deliver it because the address was wrong. I said, what are you talking about? This is the address. He delivered the mail, unless the address on the package was printed wrong, which I can't see how. It came the next day. He brought it. It's right. Everything is correct. You know, and they have now that commercial that goes, the people that know how to deliver. And every time I see it, I said, yeah, right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you go and you use you need to know how to take advantage of it. So if you need something now, or you definitely need it tomorrow, or definitely need it in 2 days, go and buy it locally. chances are you'll find it somewhere.
Trying to find the last thing I ordered on Amazon. I ordered a book July 29th. Before that, I ordered a USB to RS-232 adapter on April 18th. Those are the last two things I
Yeah.
ordered on Amazon.
So you are taking advantage of Walmart a lot.
Well, it's a Walmart a lot, but it's also, and I talked about this a little bit, where I live, living in an apartment complex, getting shipments from Amazon is kind of a pain. Because if it comes after a certain time, or if my work schedule, I don't always get home before the main office closes where they deliver packages. So
Right.
a lot of the times stuff will get delivered at 5 o'clock and I don't get home till 7 or 8 and I can't get it until the next day. So I might as well just buy it locally.
Yeah.
There's no difference. So that's a little bit of a unique thing with my scenario. But there's a whole bunch of people that live in, communities or wherever where they don't get things. They won't deliver packages to your door, and they won't deliver things on Sunday either because the office isn't open on Sunday. So
You see the
that's
mess.
frustrating.
You see the
Is
message in
there
chat.
they have
Nick,
What?
I just take a look at the chat. Go ahead.
What days?
Gal.
I see.
Yeah, Gal.
do you have they have like a drop boxes,
At Whole Foods, yeah.
and how far is that from you?
I haven't looked. The Whole Foods I think is across town. It wouldn't be a problem.
Across town, then no, that's
well,
like
Wilmington-
going to Walmart. So,
Wilmington's not that big.
yeah, but the difference between that and going to Walmart won't be the same.
No, the Walmart is 0.4 of a mile from my house. The Whole Foods is about 4 miles. I mean, it's not far. It's only 10 minutes from here.
Yeah.
But I've never tried that. I will though. Next time I'll order something on Amazon. I know there's a couple things I need. I'll order something on Amazon this week and have them deliver it to Whole Foods. I'm curious how that works.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'll find something I need some stuff. I need some coffee. I'll order that and get it delivered to Whole Foods.
Yeah, and the one thing I learned about Amazon that I didn't know before, I bought a lot of parts for the new pickup I got.
Mhm.
And a lot of them were wrong. Even though it says that it's specifically for that particular model and everything was right, it was wrong. And I said, okay, I have to send it back. Geez, now to get the labels and box it and all that. And then I looked, and one of the option was just drop it. Don't even wrap it. You can drop it at Kohl's. You can drop it at the UPS store, and they will do the whole thing.
Yeah, doesn't Kohl's do delivery now too, or is they just drop off location?
No, they just drop.
Let me see.
The delivery is done by Amazon in our area. Most of it is by their own trucks. But it was great. Just go and drop it. Either there or at the UPS store, or there was one other. Oh, in one of them drop boxes that they have. I took it to the UPS store because there's one close by at Crossroads, and I just put it in a bag and I gave it to her, and I gave her the.
you just show her a barcode and that's it.
Yeah, unbelievable. This is nice.
Let's see. New pickup location. Let's see. Your pickup locations. Let's see what's available. So there is 2 different places I can have it delivered. I can have it delivered to an Amazon hub locker in Whole Foods, and then there's another one that's further from here. This looks to be some sort of store. Pebbles. Oh no, Peebles. Peebles. Isn't that a department store?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know that you can have it delivered to Kohl's.
No, you can't. No, yeah, they'll deliver to a Peebles. Peebles. I think it's a department store. In Southport. Interesting. So, Whole Foods is open 8 a.m. to till 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday. So that is an option call. That's a good point. I've never thought about doing that if I need to order something later in the week.
Yeah, if you think the offices are going to screw you.
Yeah, well, they will, because I'm not home. I'm not home by 6 o'clock almost ever. So
yeah, and so you go grab a bite and pick up the package.
Yeah.
Oh, see now this is
Now it's going to cost you more.
now I'm spending more than I could have bought the damn thing at Walmart, and I wouldn't be buying a $13 fast food combo meal and going to Whole Foods.
But if you have Prime, it's 5% off.
No. I can't eat at Whole Foods. I can't be seen eating at Whole Foods, God. It
Yeah, I
doesn't fit my
understand.
MO. But I could go to Cookout and get myself a Cookout plate or something. So now I could have just bought the damn thing locally and I'd be set. I will try that though. And Alan's asking, what do I use RS-232? In the broadcasting field, a lot of the equipment is older equipment, and everything still has serial. So I use that for a bunch of equipment. That's still relatively standard in the broadcast industry is RS-232. A lot of devices still use that as a connector. And because the equipment is so expensive.
Is the way to go.
Well, and if the equipment is so expensive that it's not you don't throw away a $4,000 box because it doesn't have Ethernet. It has RS-232. You just buy a USB adapter and call it a day.
Yep, and it's a good thing that they have them.
Yep.
If all you do to connect to Ethernet is Telnet, then it doesn't really matter.
Yep. So I've got a couple devices. Our RDS unit, which is the radio data systems. If you're driving if you have somewhat of a newer car and it shows the station's little slogan, you'll see that scrolling. The device that I have that generates that connects via RS-232. And then I've got a couple of virtual audio mixers and matrices that connect via RS-232 as well. So I have those connected. And I've actually got 3 RS-232 devices hooked up to one computer, and it works without a problem. All serial devices, no conflict issues. They're generic, so there's no drivers. They just plug in. The computer doesn't even have internet, but it still works.
Yeah, well, you didn't mention how you're hacking to the Pentagon's Cobol database.
Yes, with my RS-232 adapter.
And selling all the information to InfoWars. So.
Hey, don't be bashing my man. You just can't handle the truth, Gall. Globalist scum.
Open source liberalist.
Yes, absolutely. Deep state open sourcer.
Hannah came the other day and she asked me if I had a charger for her MacBook Air, because she showed me the one that she has, and boy, it had phrase like it about
every Apple charger ever phrase. I don't understand.
I don't know. So
it's quality product.
She said, I'm afraid to plug it in because I know I'm going to plug it in one day and it goes go. And I did have one with another MacBook Air that
of course you did.
Customer gave me.
Exactly.
Never used a Mac in your life, but of course you had a spare.
So then I said, you need to have a spare. So I went and looked, and it's like $18 on Amazon.
Yeah.
So I ordered one, which is fine. The only thing it didn't have was the original one has like those tabs that come out that you can wrap the wire on. This one did not have it. Okay. But then I said, well, let me see. That charger's still working. Let me see if I can fix it. The first fray was about 2 inches from the power supply itself. So I cut it. And I cut it all the way to where there was about maybe 2-3 feet left of wire. And I started fixing it. I mean, using heat shrink instead of black tape that she put on it and things like that. And finished. And I plugged it in. And kind of like very reluctantly, I plugged it to the computer. And sure enough, it lit green and then it lit orange. So she was in the kitchen. I said, honey, when you charge, what color is it normally? She said, when you if the battery is not charged, it's orange, but if it's charged, it turns green. I said, okay, so it's okay. We sat down, we ate, and then I come back and it says that it's almost charged. And I'm touching the thing, and it's kind of, I mean, it's warmer than warm. I mean, uncomfortably warm. Let's put it this way. So I asked her. I said, when you plugged it in when it was okay. Did it ever get warm? And she said, how warm? She said, I don't know if it got that warm. I said, oh, something is wrong. So I took the one that I gave her, which is almost unused, and we plugged it in. And 20 minutes later, yeah, it was kind of warm, just like the other one. I said, yeah, it's fine. So now there's a spare one, if I mean in a pinch. But I never had it to happen to any other cables for Android or for
Yeah.
you know. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, the white Apple cables seem to fall apart. I don't know
No,
why that
they're
is.
special.
But hey, that's a fact.
All right.
They, by design, they want you to visit the Apple Store.
And you know what? Amazon had the original one too.
Oh yeah,
$74.
I was gonna say 80. I was close.
Sheesh. Give
Yep.
me and most people bought that. I mean, I was looking for one that a lot of people are buying, and I did find the other one. But I mean, it was the one that I bought was like by 400 and some people that reviewed it and everything.
Yeah.
The Apple one was in the thousands, and I'm saying, what's wrong with you people?
No, people want to buy the OEM.
Well, they have money. They want to spend it right.
Yeah, right. Okay. Anything else we need to talk about? It's almost that time of day. Did you want to mention anything? Anything else, Nick?
Nope. I think we are good.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'm gonna call for ask the community and see whoever comes back with an answer next week. Any good recommendations for like a traveling Wi-Fi router, something that hooks up to data internationally? If anybody has a good solution for that, anything I find is like it feels either scammy or too good to be true.
Are you looking for a hotspot or a router? Or
A
both?
hotspot. So a hotspot, something that will be good for traveling, whether in the States or abroad, and provide me a data connection via Wi-Fi.
Oh, via Wi-Fi. Okay.
No, so I'll connect to it via Wi-Fi, and it will be connected through cell.
But where are you going to get the Wi-Fi from?
Well, the device would provide
The
it.
device.
I've got an
Okay, yeah.
Ethernet version that is good, but it doesn't do Wi-Fi.
An Ethernet version. Well,
Yeah,
to an Ethernet version, you can hook up a router, but
then you got to carry a router around too.
so you just put in a SIM there and it works?
Yeah, Netgear makes them. They're about $150, and the one I've got actually does pass through, so you can hook it up to an existing network if you have one, and it'll load balance and it'll keep things routed through, and it's got one Ethernet out, and I've got it on the Straight Talk network, so I buy data as needed.
Yeah, but what
And,
happens when you try to buy it overseas and it's a different provider?
Well, you slap a SIM card in there.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got a SIM card slot. I'll post a link to the one I have. It doesn't do Wi-Fi, which is a little bit of a struggle, but for what I'm doing it.
So, Gal, why couldn't you use your phone as a hotspot with a different SIM? I mean, you have a phone in.
Yeah, the data I got through my phone, right?
Yeah.
So what I want is my phone to connect to that, and then I don't need to replace the SIM on the phones.
I see.
And I can service 2-3 phones, right?
So really what you need is another phone.
Well, phones are not very well in servicing a lot of traffic.
Okay.
And you need a cradle point.
Yeah, maybe that's the name. Yeah.
Yeah, they're expensive.
yeah, so I'm also looking for something that might have like a data plan that's international that you can just pay for as you need. So I'm looking for something like that, like a mixture of these things. Haven't found something that I say I can say, yeah, that's a good investment.
You'll spend a lot, but Cradlepoint definitely makes what you want. That's the brand name, but you'll
Right?
spend probably $600 on it. They're expensive, but they're
Mm.
they're industrial, mission critical application use.
Yeah, I mean, we travel as a family, right?
Yeah.
We'll have maybe 2 to 4 travels a year because our family is abroad.
Well, then
But
maybe that is a
but
good investment.
but still, the total time would be less than a month. So it's like,
Yeah. I would definitely look at Cradlepoint and see if they've got some lower end products that'll work. I know they have ones that have Wi-Fi built in and have USB for USB hotspots, USB cards, also SIM, whole bunch of Ethernet jacks. They've got a whole bunch of stuff.
yeah, I'll see if I find something.
Yeah.
Once I
Now,
get this machine up and running, then I'll have some time for research.
now, if you can climb the tower where you are going to travel to, you can buy a Ubiquity dish and
Mm,
point it at Nick's tower.
beam it
Eh,
back. It's a good idea. Or just get
yeah.
a satellite phone. There you go.
Alan is asking how many devices are you connecting?
Yeah, so probably not more than 5. I mean, 2 to 3 phones. I have a smartwatch that prefers Wi-Fi. It's either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. So smartwatch. I
And
don't know if I'll use a laptop with it. So, but
A-
that will be the fifth.
Alan is also saying try using a Wi-Fi extender with your phone's Wi-Fi signal, and then let the
The
extender.
problem isn't the Wi-Fi signal that the phone emits. That is okay. The problem is the battery life and the phone. When it becomes a hotspot, it heats like crazy because it's active constantly, and
Yeah,
so yeah, it's
I
it.
mean, I'm being, maybe it sounds facetious, but if it was a phone and you can have a long cable to it, what could you put it in the refrigerator and actually use it? I mean,
Well,
it
then you
may.
lose the signal.
Oh yeah, metal. Yeah, that's true. Good point.
Yeah. So it's and the thing is, the phone needs to be in your hand, right? You're gonna use it.
No, no, but
Yeah,
if you have, I mean, I have an
like an extra phone.
older phone that I can give you that
No,
doesn't
I have
work on oh, but it
I
doesn't
have
work
those.
on cell. That's right. It's only Wi-Fi.
Yeah. No, I have actually an extra phone at this point. One plus three
So
I
you're
have
saying
installed.
that when you use a phone as a hotspot, it doesn't service a lot of traffic effectively?
Not really. Not if you have more than one device hooked up to it.
Interesting.
It does it. I mean, it's okay, right? It's not bad or anything, but it's not the right solution.
Mhm.
I would rather have something dedicated for it and not being the phone. Phones, first of all, they're doing a lot of other stuff. So battery life needs to be shared on those tasks. So if I want this just to service traffic, I need it to be dedicated to that,
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
optimized for that.
yeah. Oh, yeah, Alan's saying use a picnic cooler. Plastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Drop it in the ice.
Then I'll need to deal with moisture.
Oh. No, I mean, it was just, I mean,
So how long am I? How long do I intend to use my hotspot? Alan is asking. So that's the thing. I want it to be powered for a complete day, and I'll probably use it across multiple days, but very sporadically across the year. I'm thinking something like that will get 2 to 3 weeks of use a year. So buying something too expensive isn't a good idea either.
There's a solution I just found, the Cradle Point for $300. I don't know a whole lot about it, but this one's got built-in Wi-Fi and a couple of Ethernet jacks, I believe. It does. It's got 4 Ethernet jacks, and you can also use it as just a router. It does regular. They'll do regular routing as well. So maybe this is your solution.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, but this isn't battery powered, right?
No, definitely
So
not.
I need to find power for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I'll figure it out. But this might be a good solution for a home backup internet connection.
It is. That's what this has got failover. That's what
Yeah,
this is kind of meant for. But I would
yeah,
use one of those neck ear boxes instead. That doesn't do Wi-Fi. It's just got a WAN and a LAN, and then you're good to go.
yeah.
Yeah, but you can put a wireless.
Well, if you're using it for failover, you would run the internet out of your modem through this Netgear
Right.
box and then into your router, so it automatically it's in line. But
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking about with Home Assistant, and I'm not stop me if we're going too long.
No, I mean
Uh,
it's
yeah, is to get if I get a backup line to the house, then I can use Home Assistant to restart the router power, right? Because I'll talk directly with Home Assistant. It'll switch on the switch which it has control over in Z-Wave, and then the router can restart even though I'm not even though the router isn't working. So I'll have like dual entry points.
you can probably put dual entry points on your router right now.
yeah, but if you reboot it, it's
No,
still
you
one
don't need
side.
to reboot it.
No, but I need two IP providers. I need
No,
if
that
one
yes,
if a router fails, I need another
right,
router to connect. That's what I need.
right.
That's the fail point.
These like the the what is it? The ASUS, yeah, the ASUS is a TP-Link that uses the first LAN as a added-on provider, and you configure it, and you can do actually load balancing between them even, and that's on regular home router. Now, I do have one, Gal, if you want it and you want to play with it, and you can have it. It's one that's made for 2 WANs. It's a home. I never really used it because I use
Yeah,
AT&T, but I do it in a manual way.
yeah,
But this one's supposed to work automatically, and again, it does load balancing, and if one goes out, everything goes to the other one automatically and all that. Um, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a good brand. So if
yeah.
you
So the reason I was thinking about cell and not a wired one
uh-huh.
is
I'm
because
talking
with
about at
this,
home.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about home
Oh,
and cell. So with a cell, you can get a plan that you pay like few dollars a month to keep it up, and you don't need to buy like something really expensive. It can be a prepaid plan or whatever,
right.
and you pay only what you need. So most of the time, this won't be used. This is just for remote control, right? That's what I needed. I don't need for streaming. I don't need it for accessing data. I just need it for me to access remotely in case I can't access through the internet,
Okay.
which I can say probably happened to me once in the year and a half I have the service. So it's not like a big deal, right? It's just like a thought of having some additional control.
James is saying Cisco Mera switch will do that. But I don't know what
Yeah,
that
I'll
is.
look for that.
But yeah, next time you're here, I'm going to give you that box, and you can do what you want with it and see if it works for what for. I never even configured my router to do that. Because it's fine the way that I'm always around the house.
Yeah.
So it's painless, and I do have to use it, especially when the main feed is Spectrum. The minute the power goes out, Spectrum goes out.
Well,
AT&T,
your home is load balanced by Amnon.
yeah. So when that happens, I switch. The way that I switch to AT&T is I just go to the network properties and I change the gateway. The IPs are the same. Everything is the same. It's just a different IP for the gateway, and it starts working on AT&T. So it works. Anyway, all right.
So these are the two things I'm thinking about sell. Traveling, one, and home backup is second.
Oh.
But I'll figure it out. It's not. It's
Well,
in the
you got
back of
some.
my
You
head.
got some suggestions. You can look and see. Okay, guys. Well, it was fun. Oh, now he's fixing it. I was going to ask you. So, what are you on? What are you? Are you on a phone or tablet now?
I'm from my work laptop today.
Oh, okay.
Told you my PC is fried.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, God. Thanks, Nick. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thank you for tuning to Computer Studio Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Update your virus scanner. Back up your hard drive. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Tonight at 9, Mike Phillips hosts the Crypto Culture Show. I guess he's doing the show. On Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7 FM, and you can listen on TuneIn. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.